We didn't decide who was going to start this off, so it's going to be me. Gabby, have you finished your Pop-Tart?
It is eaten.
Good. Hi, guys. I'm Dallas.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Colin.
Welcome to the Creative Differences Podcast. We are talking about The Farewell, we're talking about Crawl, and we're talking about The Art of Self-Defense.
Woo!
3 movies that, honestly, most of you probably haven't seen any of them. But we're going to talk about them anyway, because we did.
This is the obscure episode.
Yes.
This is I haven't heard of it, but you know what? I might check it out now.
Yeah,
Episode.
if you like us, you're going to listen anyway.
Woo!
Please listen. We didn't even watch all of these movies. None of us have seen all of these movies that we're talking about.
None of us have seen
they're
2 of these
wildly
movies.
different. Like
I've seen 2 of the movies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. One of us has seen 2 of the movies. Most of us have seen 1. All right, we're just rambling.
okay,
Crawl. We start with Crawl.
yes. What's Crawl about? Tell me.
Crawl is
Tell me about
Florida and why you should never ever go there. Basically,
Crawl. Sorry to our viewers in Florida. Trinity.
Yeah, don't.
Hey, girl.
Don't be in Florida. Okay, so basically,
Some people don't have a choice, Dallas.
fair. Basically, the premise of Crawl is this woman.
Oh my God! Do your notes start off with Florida sucks?
Yes, my first note. I wrote notes down, guys. My first note is Florida sucks. That seems to be the theme of the movie. Because not only are there alligators, but there's a hurricane at the same time. Because Florida.
I mean, yeah, that happens in Florida.
Hence my first note, Florida sucks.
Okay, so what's the premise of this?
So this woman lives in Florida. Mistake number 1. And she is a swimmer because, of course she is. It's a movie about alligators.
All right.
Well, what else could they make her? Like
Is she a
an alligator
competitive
hunter?
swimmer?
Like what?
She is a competitive swimmer, yes. She's
Cool.
like you were in school.
Yep.
She swims for Florida.
Cool.
University of
I
Florida.
was never
I was gonna
that
say
fast.
all of
I
Florida?
was never good enough to do that.
The state.
I started too old.
I'm sorry to hear that. Anyway, there's a hurricane, and she gets a call from her sister, and she's like, go check on Dad. You know how he is. He won't evacuate. So she's like, fine. She goes to check on her dad.
I would have left his ass.
Goodness gracious.
There's a hurricane.
Yeah, it's like
You're
a big,
saying
it's like,
you would just leave your dad like, oh.
Not my dad.
No,
but
well,
if he's
that's
crazy,
literally what you
Her
just
dad.
said, though.
my dad would be with me. My dad's a smart man.
all right, that's fair.
Continue.
Okay.
Obviously, dad's not from Florida. I think they operate differently down there.
Exactly.
So she goes to the house to try to find her dad, and bam, alligators.
But okay, are these normal alligators or are these like enormous like crossbred alligators? Like
I mean,
we're
there's
starting
nothing
to
in
see.
the movie that suggests they're like genetically enhanced.
Oh.
For
So
some
there's-
reason, they live near an alligator farm.
So there's just alligators. Why is there an alligator farm
don't know.
in Florida?
I don't know if that's
There's
is that
already
a thing?
naturally occurring alligators. Just go out and catch. Maybe to make leather handbags and goods, alligator goods.
That's what they farm for that.
I mean, why wouldn't they? It's
It would
easier
make
than
sense.
going out.
Otherwise,
and
you'd have to
catching them.
find them. If you have them all together, you can control their breeding, and then you just have them.
Goodness
You can
gracious.
just kill
Yeah,
them
and then
and
you
eat them
just
and whatever.
systemically
and use them for
kill them. Like,
yeah, it's terrible, but I get the point
I
as
have
far as
an
capitalism
alligator
goes.
purse. I can't.
Goodness gracious.
Wow, we're never sending you to Florida. They'll kill you on site.
No, they won't.
They'll see you and they'll see the person. They'll know.
You're
They'll
talking
know
about,
you
the
did.
did you say they? Are you talking about the alligators?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I thought
Okay,
you
cool,
meant
cool.
the people. I
No,
was like,
no,
well,
no, no,
maybe
no, no, no,
Floridians. Okay, continue. We are way off track.
So yeah, you had questions.
We're driving to me
I'm
insane.
answering them. There's a hurricane, so
Yes.
that sucks. And there's alligators, so that sucks. Her dad is in the crawl space. I don't want to give away the movie at this point.
Crawl
I'm just
space.
like, haha. There's a lot of crawl space. Crawl. They say crawl a lot,
Fuck.
but they say swim even more because she has to swim because she's a swimmer. That's her character.
And the house, I
trait.
assume, is flooding.
Of course, hurricane.
It's a hurricane.
And they're alligators. It's got a flood. So yeah, the movie's kind of dumb, but like
Yeah, it sounds.
it's not bad. Like it was decent.
So what
wouldn't
I'm
feel the need
getting
to watch it
is they
again.
wanted a monster movie with alligators and a hurricane, and they threw the script together. They got a relatively good named actress, and it was a good time.
It was yeah. I wasn't bored because alligators can't be boring.
And also, this
They're
just sounds
giant,
like a giant
scary lizards.
suspense-filled.
They built tension
Like,
very well.
Oh no!
Yeah, to like actually talk about the movie and its merit.
Yes.
The movie builds tension very well. Kaya Scodelario, one of those.
She's English.
Yes, sure.
She
That
was
means
on
you can
Skin.
just mispronounce her name. I don't get
Oh,
the
Sure,
logic
I
of
don't.
going.
No, I don't know.
She was good though. She was very good. I felt for her, even though she was doing really dumb stuff.
Well,
It's one of those movies
you
that
know,
bothers me when the characters are just like, I'm gonna do something stupid.
It's people in a horror movie.
And it's not.
my
So that's
guy.
the thing because like people are like, well, you you have to do something dumb for the plot to progress. It's a horror movie. But
No, you
like,
don't,
no.
because
if there's a
Get Out.
hurricane and alligators,
the thing is,
you don't need anything
I feel like
dumb.
in
Also,
this
because
case,
in Get Out, like he
you
wasn't doing anything
kinda
dumb, and the
do
plot
you
progressed.
have to do something, because I feel like if you're not going to have the protagonist do something dumb, you have to have the antagonist be smarter than them, which isn't going to work in this case.
The antagonist is a hurricane. and
Right, so then I feel like the character
It doesn't
has
matter.
to do dumb things.
No.
To let everything else work.
You just
for
have to
them.
be a person, because unless you're Superman, a hurricane and alligators is a formidable enough opponent that you don't need to act stupid.
Exactly.
Like if you're in a house during a hurricane surrounded by alligators, you be the smartest person in the world. Chances are you're gonna die.
Oh yeah, you gonna die.
She should have died. Not to spoil anything, but the amount of stuff that happens to her is like,
Why are you still alive,
Look.
girl?
unless she's John Wick, which she's not. She definitely should have been dead.
All right.
Overall, yeah, the movie is
What are you gonna
Tolerable.
give it out of 10?
it's a cool 6.
Cool 6.
Cool
All
6.
right.
Yeah.
Good time. No alcohol required.
Yeah, I don't drink and I like alligators, so that
All
checks
right.
out.
Cool.
Now you guys can talk to me about the farewell.
You saw the farewell.
I did.
Yay! I forgot that you did. I went to
Yeah.
see it yesterday with Demi.
Yes, you did.
Nice.
Yeah. The movie is about the family matriarch is sick, and they organize a wedding in China so that everybody can see her before she theoretically dies, because she's been given 3 months to live,
Right.
and nobody's told her that she's sick, and that's it. I liked it.
All right.
Also, I liked that it was predominantly in Chinese.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because it felt more like
Well, they
real
also
life.
used that for a purpose. Like, there's a
Yes.
whole conversation near the end of the movie that's in English, specifically so the people who don't speak English won't understand what's going on.
Yeah, which we do in my family. We also do it in Spanish around people that speak English, so that they don't know that we're talking shit about them.
That makes
Wow.
sense.
Yeah, especially at Disneyland. We do that a lot at Disneyland.
I feel like Disneyland's not a safe place to do that, because given how many people are there,
We're strategic about it.
I'm assuming you do it to people who you think don't speak Spanish, right?
Oh, people that we can tell around us that don't.
Demi,
speak
don't throw up
Spanish.
your hands. This is important.
This is important. We need to know
Yeah.
when Gabby is insulting us.
Oh no, I wouldn't do that to you.
Oh, thanks.
Uh-huh.
To your face.
We wouldn't know if you did. That's the problem.
I feel like you could tell. I don't know, but we do it in, like, my housemate and I and my mom and I. We do it in public spaces. And then if somebody's like, I speak Spanish, I'm like, well, good. Now you know how we feel about you. Like, there's no moment of like shock. We're just like, who cares? Obviously, I didn't care that much if I was
That is
already
the worst.
talking.
The animosity. How was Awkwafina?
She was great. She's
Yeah.
about to get nominated for an Oscar for this. This movie was prime Oscar bait.
Yeah, it was.
That, especially, you know, that part where she's like sitting. They were looking for the missing.
Oh, that was
earring?
like we need to have a scene in here where she goes for the Oscar and this is it.
Yeah. And it was like, I was like, yeah, she's about to get a nom. I don't know if she's going to win, because although if they do a good enough campaign, I think she will. It was a good performance. She played sad very well.
Yeah.
I really dug her relationship with her grandmother. Also, the farewell, I was mostly interested because I remember hearing this is based off of This American Life piece that came out a couple years ago.
That's an NPR thing, right?
Yeah, it's on NPR.
Cool.
So I listened to it and I was like, yo, this is cool / sounds like something we do to our grandparents in my
What?
culture. And yeah, I was telling Demi that like we would probably do something like this / we may have low-key done something like this to my own grandmother.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to one of my coworkers after the movie, and she hadn't seen it, but she was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing that we did. But like, she's also Chinese, and she was like, yeah, I didn't know that was a Chinese culture thing. I just thought that was a thing my family did. But yeah, we just don't tell people shit.
Yeah, no, it's a thing in our family too. Also, one line in the movie that was very poignant that I think is also in the trailer is the father was like the difference between the East and the West. And I think this is more the difference between American culture, because my family's from the West and we don't really subscribe to this. But he's like, in the West, like, your life is yours, and in the East, your life is part of a whole. And that's very much how our family operates. Is like, yeah, you have your things going on, but at the end of the day, you owe more to your family. You have to be a part of your family. You have to show up for your family. Maybe it's an immigrant thing. I don't know.
Don't know. I have no idea.
But yeah, I related a lot to it, even though it was Chinese, like, related a lot.
So you guys like the movie, right?
Yeah, I thought it lacked some resolution, I guess. Because the whole thing is like, are they going to tell the grandmother that she's dying of cancer?
Oh,
That's
they
the
were
premise of the movie.
They weren't going to tell her until she was going to die.
Right,
Like when
but
she was in her deathbed.
I kept waiting for
Her to be
Awkwafina's
honest.
character to make a decision.
But she did make a decision.
And I guess she did, and it just didn't come across as a decision. Because she made one decision. There was one scene where she was like, I want to do this. And then she just didn't.
Noticed that she did make a decision, but it wasn't. I think the point was that, like, because this is based off of like real life, it's much more of a slice of life movie than it is like a big drama.
I mean, that's fine, but even in slice of life, you can still have a sense of progression. And I feel like this movie didn't really have that, like either in the family or with her. Like, at the end of the movie, I couldn't really figure out how she was different, like what she was going to do with her life or anything.
Oh.
And I kind of wish there had been more of like a sense of, okay, she has changed because of the last hour and a half of this movie.
But it felt like she had. Well, to
I
me,
guess
it
I
did.
didn't really see that.
To me, it was something much more subtle, and it was much more like an acceptance of, or an understanding of why her family was making the decision they were making. And that doesn't have to be a big, wild aha moment. I think it's something that happened really gradually, especially if you see her opening scene and then you see her at the end. To me, there was growth. It was very subtle. But also, this movie took place over the course of a week. So I wouldn't expect an enormous change, especially when something like this is based off of a real life. I think at the beginning, she came in with very American views to an Eastern place. And to me, it was less about her changing people's minds and more her understanding why the people around her were making the decision they were making. And at that point, because at that point, it was just her that was super uncomfortable with this. And everybody else was like, this isn't ideal, but telling her she's sick is just going to make her more sick. She came in with this foreigner view, and she finally understood the cultural view. I think it was like her leaving her American views at the door and welcoming the views of China.
I have one question.
Yes.
So the family knows, but
Every single person except for the
So what-
grandmother
the doctor
knows.
like call the family?
No, what happens is she goes with her sister,
Uh-huh.
and the sister talks to the doctor, but she doesn't. Why she doesn't, I don't know.
Because it's probably like she's older and she's sick, and they want to leave it in the hands of the family to decide, especially when she's that age.
Doctors don't have to like talk to their patient.
Not in China. In the United States, they have to. My family's gotten around that. We're like, and I think they started doing this in the hospital, fixing this little step in hospitals. But like our family would be like, oh, we don't need a translator. And then they would just tell the grandma kind of what she needed to hear. And the doctor knows just enough Spanish to hear that something's being conveyed, but they're not fluent enough that they can
Somebody's
catch
being lied to.
what's being omitted. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's kind of what I've seen done before. But now I think they bring in an interpreter anyway, and they have the interpreter tell the person.
That's good. I had no idea what that movie was about. I just knew somebody was sick. Colin, you almost saw The Art of Self-Defense,
Yeah,
but then you didn't.
I didn't.
It's okay because I did.
Cool.
So why didn't you see it?
Well, okay. I didn't see it because I didn't want to make the effort. It wasn't the movie I wanted to make the effort for.
Gotcha.
Then I was like, well, I'm probably not going to go see it, so I'll read the summary on Wikipedia. And then I was like, okay, now I really don't want to see it, so
Yep.
we're good.
All right, cool. So Jesse Eisenberg plays a man named Casey who is, in a word, meek. And one day he gets attacked at random in the street, and he decides, I'm gonna learn karate, because what better way to defend yourself? That's the plot of the movie. And it goes off the rails 'cause it's very dark. Like, I could tell from the trailer this was gonna be a dark comedy. It gets weird. It's very dry humor, but it got dark. It also, like, since the trailers come out, I've been talking to people about how it reminds me of an episode of Hey Arnold, when Arnold gets mugged on the bus and then he learns karate because he got mugged.
Oh my God.
And that's the plot of this movie.
That's the plot.
That's the plot of that episode. That's the plot of this movie. And I was like, is no one talking about this?
I think
Doesn't
just
he,
you.
like, end up... He doesn't actually hurt them from what I remember.
Yeah.
But then, like, he scares them so much that he realizes, you know what, this is not the type of person I want to be.
Arnold shreds a man's clothes with his
That's
hands and
right,
feet.
yes.
Somehow. The man who comes up to ask him where the bus stop is, and he turns around and goes full karate on him.
As
and
you
all his
would.
clothes just fall apart. I don't know. New York.
That's valid.
But yeah, this is like that if it wasn't for kids and just went completely off the rails. Because he also has like a deterioration of like...
his psyche.
The movie's about toxic masculinity. But it's super on the nose about it.
Oh,
To
I
the
mean,
point where
some
it's
men
like-
need that.
To the point where it's like the jokes work sometimes, and sometimes it's just like
I
right.
know what you're saying,
you
but like
you just
you spelled
although
it
there's
out
one
too
point
much
that's
for
really
me.
funny. It's like super on the nose when he. It's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. But he at some point he goes to a gun store, tries to buy a gun, and that just becomes like basically a gun control PSA in the movie.
No.
But the actor playing the gun store owner is so funny to me that like it was one of my favorite parts. The actor's
Who's-
name is Davy Johnson. Nobody knows that. It's fine. Demi might know. Demi, nope, she's shaking her head. Even Demi doesn't- if
Damn,
Demi
miracle.
doesn't know-
Then
never mind.
he's not. If Demi doesn't know who it is, do they exist?
And to be fair, he's an older white man. It's not really
Oh,
like
then
Demi's
yeah,
go-to
he's
demographic.
not her.
Yeah.
Wait,
But yeah, he's funny. Also, Alessandro Nivola is the sensei who goes by the name Sensei. And he is utterly hilarious. Like, his character is completely detestable, kind of, because, you know, it's about toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to be toxic and masculine. But the way he delivers his lines is just, it's super dry to the point where, like, I wasn't dying laughing, but I was like, goodness gracious, I can't believe this is happening. And, of course, Jesse Eisenberg, he, like, specializes in this dry, awkward
Yep.
sense of humor.
This
And he
is-
does it well, and he's, like, mastered it. So I'm glad they got him for the role, because
this is him.
this is him. But people have been asking, like, if I would recommend it to them, and I'm like, I don't know. It's very weird. It's very dark. It's very dry.
So is it like quirky but for dudes?
It's an interesting way to put it. I guess so. It
From
starts.
the way you've described it, it sounds like it goes too hard to be quirky.
So the thing, it starts quirky.
But that's why I said like
and then it goes
for-
insane. I want one of you to see it. I kind of want Gabby to see it, just because
it
it's
sounds like
super
something
weird.
I would be into. I'm into like offbeat weird
Yeah,
comedy
it's super
indies.
weird, and I feel like I could like there's certain scenes where I could just hear you like, oh my god, like in my head.
So you
like,
just gotta take me.
yeah. I don't know if I want to see it again. Because by the end, I was just like, I can't do this again, guys. It's too much.
Is it like when we went to see John Wick together?
That was
No, because you
amazing.
actually had a great time.
Your
doing that.
reactions were like enhancing the movie.
Oh.
Also, last thing, I found my name in the credits.
Hey,
That
congrats.
never happens.
What? Somebody's named Dallas?
Yes, this is
Honestly,
actor
I've
name-
started looking for your name rather than mine because
Yeah,
I feel
good
like
luck.
I can find mine pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's an actor named Dallas Edwards. He is a child, and he gets knocked unconscious by a karate instructor. So yeah,
Mine is a little hard to find too.
I mean, like maybe with the spelling, right?
Yep.
All right, so those are the movies that we saw, and most people didn't.
Yep.
So you guys like the farewell? Colin kind of might
I
be
dug
like
it, and I'm hoping Awkwafina does get nommed for an Oscar for
That'd be
this.
cool. I don't have any interest in the movie, but I like Awkwafina, and
Yeah.
like I would love to see Awkwafina the way she spells it written in like the Oscar font, because
Me too.
then people are gonna have to realize like, oh, she's a rapper and she has a song called My Vag, and like
Well,
they
you
won't know.
know,
They'll be like, oh my god, what have we done?
no, there's 3-6 Mafia has won an Oscar. Like
Yeah, and I bet they've never forgiven themselves for giving those people an Oscar.
you know what song it was for?
Did they?
Life's hard out here. For
Did they
pimp.
get up on stage?
Yes,
and
they
have the whole
did, and it
speech?
was
Oh.
amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, but like,
It's better. I mean, Eminem won an Oscar too, but his ass did not show up to the ceremony. He was like, "I'm too cool for y'all," and I'm like, "Fair."
I get it. Also, before we go, I want to apologize to anyone in Florida that
He
No,
was
No, he doesn't.
serious.
He's
Hold on.
definitely not apologizing.
hold on.
That is
I wanna
living in Florida.
apologize
Like,
to anyone in Florida who is not one of those like over the top conservative Florida man type people. Like if you're in Florida and you don't have like a Confederate flag somewhere in your house, I don't want to offend you personally. Also, an actual shout out, because if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then we got to thank our friends Brandon and Io. Like they put this on that for us because I don't know how to do it. I
Yep.
don't think any of us know how to do it.
Nope.
nope.
Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Io. You guys are dope. Crown Digital. That's the like media platform that you might have found this on. Check it out on Instagram, Twitter, whatever things. Find us on Twitter at y'all_different because creative differences is still taken. Find us on.
Do you check it every day, Dallas?
At this point, I might as well. Oh, it's a lot. Find us on Facebook. Search for Creative Differences. Look for the picture. That is the same one that you're seeing right now. So we're on Tumblr. It's Creative Differences Podcast. Pretty straightforward. If you're still on Tumblr after the great purge of Tumblr, congratulations.
I'm not. I'm just kidding.
Gabby left with the titties.
Yep. Where can they find you, Dallas?
They can find me on Twitter at a king named Simba.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm supposed to go next. You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck. That's about it.
That's his actual Twitter. Well, because last week we gave a fake one.
I was ready to, but yeah, go ahead. What's yours, Gabby?
And you can find me on Instagram at Stegosoria. Soria is spelled Soria. And you can find our audio engineer, Demi, at...
Her mic's off. You can't find her.
You can find
She doesn't
me, our
exist.
audio engineer, at Dreamy Films on Twitter. Dreamy is spelled Dreemi. Films is spelled like films.
And also on Instagram.
All right, y'all. It's been different.
Bye.
Bye.